Welcome to They Are Waiting for Us from Forbes Books, the podcast that explores how education can transform lives and communities, featuring conversations with change agents who are making a difference in education, from parents and advocates to teachers and leaders. Here's Dr. Lisa Andrew.
I'm back with Dr. Cynthia Teniente-Matson, the president of San José State University. We've explored the current state of education and her inaugural year at San José State. Now, Cynthia, let's delve into the university's pivotal role in shaping the Silicon Valley workforce. Given the university's proximity to tech giants and innovators, how can technology enhance educational access, equity, and scalability? Could you elaborate on how this unique positioning fosters access, promotes equity, and nurtures the talent pipeline for the workforce?
You know, Lisa, we've been at this for a minute. During the internet revolution, part one, we thought this was really going to change teaching and learning. And it has actually changed teaching and learning. But it hasn't closed all the gaps that we thought it might close when we began the internet revolution conversations and what that impact would be on teaching, learning in particular. I think what we can say now, and I'd love to get your perspective on this because it's still evolving, is with AI and the tools that are currently being actively developed and some that already exist, there is far more opportunity for individualized learning, individualized tutoring, individualized problem solving in areas where I may be having challenges. So if I am doing a complicated mathematical equation or learning new mathematical concepts, both at the undergraduate level or even in K through 12, the techniques and the tools that are now available can help you determine. It's actually step 3 where you keep stumbling and getting the wrong answer. And you go back, time on task is what we used to say in the old days, time on task. But, time on task still does translate to how you learn, right? Whether it's
That's right.
what's going on, reading, however that is. So these tools, I think, the new tools that are emerging, some are further ahead than others. It's going to be significant, I believe, now that we will see breakthrough in that individualized learning that will help professors as well as K through 12 teachers be able to stay with this large group and move them forward because they will have this individual, personalized tool at their side. I think that's one of the takeaways from the pandemic is that we're never going back to something that isn't individualized and personalized, specific to you as it relates to learning. To some extent, we've always been there and we've always known that's a secret code, but we've never been able to crack it to scale for everything, right? So I think the tools are going to get there, which will help with closing equity gaps, at least in readiness. So we know right now, without a shadow of a doubt, that we don't have more people in fill-in-the-blank careers because they're not ready at 8th grade math, which means they're left out of a whole set of trajectories that's the point of entry as a freshman, college freshman. And the time it takes to get up to that, you just never can catch up easily. People do it, and we know there's exceptions, but not to scale. Same with reading, reading at age 8, which we have known for a long time as a barometer of success. We could have some of these tools that will not only get you reading at age 8, but continue along what we were talking about earlier, comprehension and critical thinking, so that you're actually prepared for these societal and global changes that are not something that we can imagine today to, again, be leading. But it's not just that. I think it's in artistic expression, too. All the tools that are coming out now through, let's just say Adobe and Adobe AI, but there's lots of other tools. So I'm not saying that to be exclusive. I'm just giving that as one example. You'll learn how to create differently. Graphic design is different. The ability to use that as a different means of learning, not only for practicality, but for artistic expression, creativity, to your point, adaptability, the ability to just imagine these visual expressions and machinations in a whole different way is just so beyond cool. And then, when I think about these things in areas that are challenging, like creating an understanding, an ethical understanding of intellectual property and how you maintain and preserve intellectual property in your own creativity, in your own creative expression to take it to the next level, is going to change wholesale industries. Film and art, we're just going through CineQuest now here in our region. How is film and integrating AI, the production capacity of how all of this is going to impact us, just taking us in a whole different level. So these are areas that we as teachers and professors and faculty members have to keep up. So it's to your earlier point about that, where we were talking about reverse peer mentoring and near peers and how do we get ahead of all this. It's such an inflection point for us now to be just reimagining and rethinking the world.
Yes. So, and I think the art of teaching now is even more needed and necessary. How do you blend the tools, when to apply the personalized learning, taking what you get from the information from that? It needs to go then through the human being who is saying, and this is also what I know about Cynthia. And this is also what I know about Lisa,
right,
to make the next step, right? And the wonderful insight that we get from technologies and things of that sort, blended with the human judgment and intuition, going back to your prior comments about taking care of the whole person. And that is truly, truly an art of which our teaching force will need to be on top of for sure.
If we think about sort of the Netflix approach or the Amazon approach to the data set, right? So the data set of who Cynthia Teniente-Matson is and how I learn, what my preferences are, I would hope, and I know that this is occurring, that we can link that to tools like, let's take the Gallup Strengths Quest, for example. So if I know what my strengths are and what my human tendencies are through other tools, all of that can be preloaded or pre-embedded in the generative tool that is helping me to better live my life, whatever that looks like, right? From everything now being baked into one. It's kind of hard to imagine all of this, but it's happening. We're living through it in the what some call the narrow definition of AI, which are, the Netflix of the world or Uber Eats or something that's predicting what you might want and can recall what you did in the past to help you take it forward, to the more broad a part of AI, to the generative part of AI where it's doing this on its own. I don't know how long that cycle will take. Some futurists say it's 25 years away before it's truly, completely generative. We're going through these cycle of evolutions now, or revolutions, perhaps, if you think about it circularly now. So we're in narrow right now, which is the tools that we're using to better manage our life. This will get broader, and then it'll become generative. And it's moving in that pace as I understand it and read about it. As we think about teaching and learning, I think we have to imagine these endpoints, which I think we've been trying to do all along. We just didn't have all of the data sets now to help us with that. The bigger question, I think, Lisa, is, and you've alluded to this too, is how we continue to think about bias, ethics, inequities in your other lines of inquiry, to think about how we get it right and how we challenge what we know hasn't worked to help us improve to get it right the next time, or as we're evolving through this time. And I love the idea of, we talk about our cultural capital in who we are as a human society, what we bring to an organization or a conversation or teaching and learning. So those cultural influences that can also be built into this individual personalized teaching and learning will make us better to be able to expand that authentic learning environment in a way that hopefully will produce a better product in the end in our teaching and learning.
For sure. So to that end, with the emerging fields like data science, what should be your educational priorities then at San Jose State to that end?
Yeah. So what we're doing right now at San Jose State is we're really re-examining all of our academic programs in several layers, not just post-pandemic, but thinking about where we are in this critical space. So San Jose State has a critical role to play in how we think about the convergence of these technologies. So we are currently going through an exercise of recalibrating our strategic plan. And we've asked ourselves these questions as an organization. Our goals, our outcomes, and our measures still the right look post-pandemic? And what is the future of AI impact everything that we do? Question 2. And then so we are working through right now as we speak, a vision statement around the future of AI. And I'm being broad here in terms of these convergences, right? Because it's not just one thing. It's, as we discussed a few moments ago, it's machine learning, it's large language models, it's robotics, it's artificial intelligence, it's spatial computing. All of these things are converging into how we behave, how we think, and how we learn. So we're asking ourselves, okay, what does a broad vision statement look like for us? We'll put that out there. It's in draft mode now amongst our cabinet leaders. Then what do we do to achieve that vision? And then how do we do it to achieve that? So those are the elements that we're working through now. We clearly, I will say to you, Lisa, we have it's less than 70. So I think the number is 67 faculty who are actively right now and have been for a period of time, actively engaged in machine learning, large language models, and artificial intelligence, and have active research grants sponsored by either the federal, state, or corporate foundation relations. So any one of those buckets. So this is not new to us. So we have that, which is different than I think from other universities who might not have this geography to their competitive advantage. So there is a significance about that. Then we have probably another 40 faculty, let's call them leading, that are already integrated some form of artificial intelligence in how they're teaching. And it's across the board in multiple disciplines. So it's in music, it's in art, it's in business, it's in engineering, it's in languages, it's multiple places. And then we have probably another 150 faculty or so who are actively involved in the Adobe Creative Commons tools, the Adobe digital tools, and leading and practicing in this way as well. So we already have a talent pipeline ahead in this space, or at least par. If we're not ahead, we're definitely not behind. So when we think about what is the role of San Jose State, it is for us to determine where do we have intellectual capacity, intellectual energy, student experiential learning, partners where we can actually break ahead and be national or global leaders in certain domains within this convergence, and to continue to invest and strategically invest in that so that we are producing the talent that will circle back and cycle back into our region in the Silicon Valley, tech companies, service industries, hospitality industries, teaching and learning, the nonprofit sector, everything that we do, which we have been doing for several decades now. As I like to say, Lisa, we are the original startup and the original influencers. So we're at a place of critical capacity in engineering. So I'll tell you this, right now we already have a master's degree in artificial intelligence. We already have a master's degree in high performance computing. We already have master's programs in quantum technologies. We are already doing this work, and we're doing it in some cases in cohorts in industry, where we're going into corporate headquarters and offering the graduate programs or the certifications to help maintain relevant workforces. So we are not behind, pretty far to the front of leading this discussion now. And now the question is, how do we permeate it in every area? It's already happening. So we're working on scaling so that we maintain our competitive advantage as a region. And I think San Jose State is the key to that today. It always has been and will continue today and well into tomorrow.
Well, I couldn't agree with you anymore. I feel the same exact way about San Jose State. I'm very proud of that in our community. The responsiveness, the way it's positioned in our community, the way it's viewed in our community, and just really looking forward to doing my part to give you a nice, healthy, prepared, diverse pipeline of high school graduate that just continue the excellence that's there to make us all proud of the community that we're raising up. So as we wrap up our time together, I wanted to give you a chance to imagine a bit. And I wanted to ask if you could reinvent any aspect of education, what changes would you prioritize and why?
One that is a societal challenge that I know you address on a regular basis is the value proposition. One that I know you talk about a lot is the value proposition of being a teacher, the value proposition of being an educator, the value proposition of the impact on early childhood human brain development that is occurring with the influence of us as adults, helping, supporting, and caring for children all the way through and into completion in college. So I think that's one element that if I could wave a magic wand, it would be to provide a greater, more important societal value around the educators and the whole ecosystem of educators, from counselors to speech pathologists and principals and superintendents and everything that goes into making an effective district a district. So that is one. And I think the world is in a better place now post-pandemic to understand the significance of starting with childcare, working its way forward. At the university level, as we think about how we exist and coexist with all of our other partners, it's really important that we remember the significance of the individualized and personalized learning and how that learning takes place both in the classroom and the support system that's needed outside of the classroom. And you can populate that in many ways. So it starts with the holistic support that an individual needs to be successful in a challenging and competitive environment as a college student, to the early orientation to careers and understanding and preparing for career and career readiness. This is critically important for first-generation students, and for us as our wraparound support for the parents of first-generation students to help those families and loved ones be successful is so critically important. That we would think about all of these elements at San Jose State to ensure we're most appropriately student ready. I think we are student-centered. Being student ready requires a continual assessment of what is happening, how students are coming in. Students coming post-pandemic is completely different than where we were 3 or 4 years ago, which requires significant adaptation. So our ability to keep up with this rapid pace are some areas where I would reinvent and continue to communicate what it means to be a public university supporting students in today's environment.
I like both of those magic wand waves. So, President, if folks wanted to get in touch with you to find out more about you, your leadership, and or San Jose State, what should they do?
They can check me out on social media. I'm on all the handles: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We do respond to direct messages. They could certainly reach out to me via email to the Office of the President, or they can call into the Office of the President. And those are easily found in the sjsu.edu directory to find the Office of the President and do an outreach. The other thing that people can do is invite me to your school, invite me to your district. I'd love to come and meet your students, engage with your parents or your families in any way possible or practical.
Well, I want to thank you very much for taking time to chat with me today, and I wish you all the best and San Jose State all the best in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
And that wraps up this episode of They Are Waiting for Us. If you've enjoyed the show, please take a moment to subscribe so you can get notifications when new episodes drop. Also, if you could spare a minute, I would greatly appreciate it if you could leave a review to help others like yourself discover the show. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.
This has been They Are Waiting for Us. If you want to learn how to create economic opportunity through equal access to quality education and create an extraordinary learning environment focused on everyone realizing their full potential, go to drlisaandrew.com. They Are Waiting for Us is a production of Forbes Books.